Bioshock is one of those games that you can't really explain. Best I can do is jacked up heroin addicts somehow took control of Atlantis. Technically the truth. But I've never played Bioshock until today. Honestly, if you told me about Big Daddies and Little Sisters, I would end up on the line with the police before you could follow up that sentence. But with the collective Bioshock community deep-throating this game like a reverse colonoscopy, I decided to try it out and see if this game actually lives up to the hype. Whether I can ever reconcile with heroin addicts, and two, more importantly, see how many inferior uber-mentioned needle drug users I can eliminate in my time on Rapture. Crack supremacy forever. So, would you kindly join me in smoking some crack off the husk of a Big Daddy's ass and play Bioshock Remastered on crack? I pick the medium difficulty as the game immediately starts by fat-shaming me, oblivious to the fact that I'm already the average TCLR subscriber by showing extremely outdated information. Game is set 15 years after the Soviets put two fingers on one side of the hole and the Americans the other before proceeding to goatsy Hitler together as I stroke the photo of my family, knowing of course the lung cancer has already taken a hold, getting a present that I'm not supposed to open. Oh, what's this? It seems the lung cancer's already taking effect. From the sounds of the crash, you would think a bullied high school junior decided to pop the airlines' mass shooting virginity, or Kim Jong-un finally got the balls to actually do it. I wake up unable to tell if I'm in the ocean or told my girl I was a TCLR subscriber. Oh, speaking of which, there's her purse. Well, guess we know what the answer was. I'm surrounded by a wall of fire climbing on top of the airplane engine. Not Rose again. Fuck that bitch! The fire draws my path as I might as well approach the Eye of Sauron considering my options. I make my way inside. There's a statue of a man trying to go one-on-one with God himself, it seems, before I try to give myself a swift death since the lung cancer isn't finished just yet. Reading a beautiful quote that sounds like something out of the Pedophile Manifesto. I make my way down, deciding to play some Subnautica in my final hours, and it even comes with a complimentary movie.
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose Rapture.
Come on, dude, just pay your fucking taxes. I thought he was a communist at first, but it seems like this guy wants to go back to the good old pre-agricultural days where Unga Bunga was law of the land. We get to a beautiful underwater city. My goodness, I'm sure the people of Atlantis are living a lavish life where petty morality won't be upheld. Yes! Finally, an escape from petty conventions like the Geneva one and the hug. This place was made for me. As we pass over the blue whale, a guy named Atlas tells Johnny Boy to come for me, so the red carpet is out in full force, it seems. Oops! Seems Johnny's found himself an inch over the lawn of a lady in the United States. God bless his soul. No, my goodness. I thought she would shoot him, not remove his innards. Blackbeard's lust isn't satiated just yet and looks at my ungutted belly, causing her to set sail full mast and try to break through my biosphere. She almost gets through until giving up, and Atlas tells me to pick up the shortwave radio. He says he wants to keep me alive, but I'm good. Just gonna sit here and wait for the cigarette side effects to go to work. Thank you very much. Guess not, as the fucker forces open the biosphere, leaving me with no choice, and we go to draw her out of hiding. Sex?
How do you like that, mister?
We're dealing with a master tactician as Atlas used my horniness to counter the splicer who was using my horniness against me. It's official. You're the boss. I pick up a wrench and break through concrete as Donkey Kong sends one of his barrels after me, which I instinctively dodge. I go one-on-one with a splicer, splicing him open and get to a Girl Scouts lemonade stand, but they trick me and put heroin into the needle instead, causing my genetic code to be rewritten like a Ben 10 transformation. All of that being too much for me as I jump to my doom. Or so I thought. I wake up disoriented with the rejects from Cinderella's masked ball, who are about to abuse me while I'm unconscious until...
Fish ain't worth towing it with no Big Daddy.
Excuse me, I didn't hear you. A big what? Nautilus from League of Legends shows up, who's named Mr. Bubbles, as his little sister with the giant needle decides not to stab me since I'm still breathing. But even she can see the lung cancer quickly beginning to take hold and spread and decides to leave me alone, for now. After that acid trip, I can now use Thunderbolt. After dodging a crashing engine...
Zap 'em, then whack 'em. 1-2 punch. Remember, the 1-2 punch.
1-2 punch, 1-2 punch, 1-2 punch, eat my excrement, Purge movie fan. After dealing with the suicide bomber's attempt, I make my way up the elevator where Atlas tells me he's trying to escape with his family and needs my help. And well, I can't exactly say no since I'm still new in this hood, so I oblige to help and make it out together. This woman is singing a very disturbing lullaby to her, well, the gun is supposed to be in the cradle, but I see what she was getting at. It seems the plasmid made this city go to shit, should have used the superior psychedelic crack. If you ask me, you wouldn't have been in this mess if you did. But with suicide not possible, me and my Glock get going. I get hallucinations of Casper lamenting at his drug addiction, causing a lack of supply in maidens before screaming at the top of my lungs, I bought the new Harry Potter game! One of the bathroom doors opens to Narnia, but more importantly, I have to catch some bodies. By the time I'm finished, heroin usage is going down to 0. Before I take another needle. This stuff's addictive. I see a little sister stabbing a body as Atlas tells me her lore, and as I get down, EDP unluckily shows up, but the girl screams at the top of her lungs, bringing in Chris motherfucking Hansen to save the day. Who bodies the fucker? Yeah, I'm not messing with this guy, bro. He my daddy too. I'm staying away from the sisters. Making my way to Neptune's bounty, a code red is issued, and after getting my ball hairs trimmed by a flamethrower, Atlas opens a way into medical. Enumerating that Andrew Ryan tracked down our location, and after getting step broed, I meet the man.
So tell me, friend, which one of the bitches sent to you? The KGB wolf or the CIA jackal?
After mistaking me for a furry, I want nothing more than to see him in a body bag, but more importantly, who is the voice actor? Must have conjured up the actual Andrew Ryan to come say his lines. Ryan tells the splicers I watched the entirety of Cuties without cringing, and as they all dogpile onto me, Atlas opens the doors. I make my way to medical. I hack a security robot and call him Johnny in honor of our fallen comrade from a few minutes ago. Good thing too is with my shooters in tow, we breach the splicer defenses, finding out the emergency exit is blocked. And we have to track down Dr. Steinman and take his key. I pick up the RP5 from COD Zombies as I make my way to the Nazi eugenics doctor. After witnessing a flashback of Madonna going back to her plastic surgeon after the internet clowned on her, whoa. Above all, do not harm, written in blood. Seems he's already broken that commandment. I take control of a sentry, dubbing him Donnie cause it rhymes with Johnny and I'm tired while writing the script. Eventually I get to a giant wall of ice that needs to be burned down, so I make my way to the crematorium as Bin Laden cut the red wire, exposing his location, leading to an easy kill. Seeing my father with a little sister while listening to Steinman stating his Fuhrer didn't go far enough and they should have added the ugly to Auschwitz, I make my way. The jokes write themselves, man. Snaking into a hidey hole, I find the incinerate plasmid as I use flamethrower, landing a crit and sweeping my ops. No! Donnie! Why?
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
I get on a rampage, burning everything burnable, headshotting the innocent, robbing their corpses like I was in Chirac before melting the block of ice separating me from Joseph Goebbels. Walking in, I pick up the shotgun. Uh-oh. Fear not, as I masterfully baited the splicers to my location by feigning blindness to kill the most heroin addicts I could in a square meter. After me and my masturbators finish them off, I get to a tennis practice room, grabbing telekinesis, needing it to use psychic on the incoming C4 to clear out the debris leading into surgery. Finally, I meet the guy.
She won't stay still! I want to make them beautiful, but they always turn out wrong! And intruder, he's ugly! 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 Ugly!
After getting called ugly to my face, even after killing the Nazi war criminal, I feel terrible. It's never a good feeling to be called ugly, so I did the only thing I knew could fix this. I became a TCLR subscriber. These rapture fools might think they're tough shit, using needles to grant them superpowers and questionable geneticists to craft their sexy bodies. Look what they require to mimic a fraction of our power. One click of that big red button will immediately give you the ability to use Thunderbolt in a body so sculpted, it it'd be worthy of the champions of Olympus themselves. A single walk to the grocery store registers a 10 on the richer scale, with each step blinding any non-subscribers foolish enough to stare directly at you without proper eye care. Not only that, but you also get to, more importantly, not miss out on future content. Key taken, Skit performed, I make my way back to the emergency room, stumbling upon a Big Daddy taken down. What pinnacle specimen of human evolution combining the exact plasmids to mere subscribing was required to take down this specimen? Okay, well, Hugh Hefner wasn't my first guess, but close enough. Unfortunately, Hefner's shot his Tannenbaum with the Glock tells me to hold it. Being a minority with a gun trained on me by an authority, I say my prayers. Until Atlas is able to calm her down, telling me she's the reason the little girl turned into a Wizard 101 animation. Feeling guilty, she tells me there's another way to get Adam from the little sisters, tossing me a vial. Now we have two options: harvest or rescue the little sister. This determines whether you get the good or bad ending, because if you harvest a single little sister, then you will get the bad ending, but you get twice the Adam as opposed to saving them. Moral dilemma, right? You would expect me to harvest little sisters, not because of the Adam or the ending, but because I'm an evil son of a bitch. No, because every 3 sisters you get a giant teddy bear filled with more Adam and free upgrades worth more than all the Adam you get from just harvesting the little sisters, so there's no real reason to get put on a CIA hit list. Finally, after finding out that Big Daddies are in fact beatable, especially by a 90-year-old man who's 6 feet under, it's my turn to stand my ground against my father as I hit him with
1-2 punch. Remember, the 1-2 punch.
Future's now.
taking out father before rescuing another little sister. Finally, I can use the emergency exit key and get onto a bathysphere to Neptune's bounty, continuing the story. Atlas tells me Ryan is the one who built and tore this place to the ground, as one new change of panties needed later, I get showered by some petals. Wonder if that'll come up again. Finding and eliminating another Big Daddy strapped up with an AK instead of a dildo for a hand. This time, that's 3 sisters saved and 1 giant teddy bear reward for the taking.
Look! Look!
After dodging a few Russian Iskander missiles, I tell the operator we have big titty goth girlfriends in the United States, causing it to switch sides. I knock on Peach Wilkins, who won't let me pass until I can get him a research camera. Pedals.
My friend, you are fucked.
Spider-Man crawls through, and after holding my own for a few minutes, he sends a sentry to support my struggle against Captain Hook. After that, he gives me a grenade launcher before I'm off to get photos of the Spider-Man splicers for Jones Jameson.
You serious?
Also, this line is important here. If he smells a whiff of Fontaine, he'll shack nuts in my face, shoving me into a sarcophagus. Although Atlas says Fontaine is already living it up at a Mozart live performance, so I'm sure I've got nothing to worry about. One execution of Captain Jack Sparrow later, and using Russian MLRS to tank hits from a Big Daddy later, and I get to the research camera. Occupying a slot on my weapons with pictures, giving me bonus damage against certain enemies, although it is clunky to use. You know, when I get jumped, instead of pulling out the stiffy, I pull out a camcorder you'd see on an episode of iCarly, or Life is Strange, pin comment. You can see how that's a little disadvantageous. I catch the other 2 Spider-Verses in 4K before making it back to Peach, who tells me he just needs to put on a cup of tea and to wait here. Alright, nothing suspicious yet. Okay, he needs me to surrender my weapons. Again, nothing too strange here. I burn the ice and get focused hacker. I walk in and, ooh, somebody turned off the lights. Is it my birthday? But to my surprise, it isn't hide and seek, and instead is Peach Wilkins sniffing the Fontaine off my dick cheese. Pretty easy fight though. I hack the security bots and seal Peach into Davy Jones's locker before retrieving my weapons and getting to the Pack-a-Punch station. Without my trusted commando from Kino der Toten, I upgrade the Headspace Renovator instead, increasing its damage, enraging the Imperial German Army. I get another Casper scene where Ghost 2 tells Ghost 1 to not cross Fontaine, because he carries his strap, a strap-on, on his persons at all times, and will always fuck you first. I make my way down to the sub Atlas's family is in, and it should be smooth sailing from here. After a flashback of the photo with my parents, it's up to me to hit the switch on the control booth, but the ops are listening in and he warns me not to press that button. But thinking he's got the resolve of Chamberlain in 1936, I do it anyways.
If only your friend could look up and see. Maybe only you could do something, anything, except just stand here and watch him die.
After giving the splicers the
1-2 punch.
I took a detour, collected consumables as Atlas fills me in on the story like we were watching a show on cable and I had to take a shit midway through. Yeah, right now, the finger is in the anus. She's telling him to put it in. Well, there goes the whole fist.
You ooze in like an assassin, and then you try to sneak out like a thief. You're no CIA spook. Who are you? Why have you come here? There's two ways to deal with a mystery. Uncover it, or eliminate it.
I mean, you could also just ask me what I'm doing here instead of resorting to the Twin Tower method, but you go up. I get to Arcadia where Atlas is lamenting at his lost maiden and offspring as he enlists me to help him get revenge. Why did I say yes? Because the story is linear progression. But if it was me in there, nope. Rest in peace, Martha.
I'm going home.
Ryan gives me a cryptic message, should have invested in a neck protector while I had the chance. After watching a ghost porno, my objective is to make it to Rolling Hills and kill the son of a bitch as we get a new enemy type, the period monster. As I rip my hair out thinking I'll be forced into a skit in the next season of Big Mouth, I find a primitive crafting station because this was a AAA game in 2007. I don't know what you were expecting. After snatching a photo in between lighting up my biggest stop, I equip the Genjutsu Plasmid, my favorite of the game, and am tasked with heading over yonder to the land of Dorothy in Texas or whatever the Dust Bowl town was and Bob Andrew. But the man tells me a story about his petty side as he burned down a forest on the surface instead of creating a public park. Man will really commit arson before seeking therapy, as he gives me that 10 deluxe copies of Hogwarts Legacy to own the lives excuse. After that, he proceeds to launch raid on all the trees and, as Atlas puts it, killing my oxygen supply. So we have to hope a botanist named Langford is still alive. I get to her shack, and being the 1960s, I threaten to tell her husband she's working a job if she doesn't help me save the trees, forcing her to assist me against Andrew Ryan. First step is finding a rose and assuming that the last time her husband gave her flowers, the Soviets and Germans were still fighting for Stalingrad. I take pity on her and get her a thick one. She lets me in as I waddle through full mass thinking I'm gonna be a part of a librarian porno without the video, but Andrew Ryan hits her with the legal threat and poisons her ass, foiling my maiden pursuits. She's able to draw some...
You want the numbers, Mason?
I move in bravely, standing strong against the post-Taco Bell midnight snack gas, picking up a weapon of mass destruction. This is where a rock was hiding those. It all makes sense now. I find a tape recording as I find out I need to make a vector and require clean water, chlorophyll solution, and honeybee cum. But...
You want the numbers, Mason?
Okay, I just need this amount. Sounds good. It's a fetch quest, and as you might see, I'm running around like a grandpa in Vegas with no Viagra, all out of juice, so how do I rectify that problem in a survival horror game?
EA Sports. It's in the game.
I go to the farmer's market on my way, using my new WMD to give the heretics, heroin addicts for those of you not familiar with TCLR lore, and give them the death they deserve before making my way to the farmer's market. I get to the beehive and get a cool looking plasmid making me bee master. If only it wasn't so dog shit. I unleash the pheromones, forcing all the bees to stop what they were doing and begin aggressively masturbating immediately as I collect their post-climax liquid products. Next is clean distilled water, but considering I might as well be in sub-Saharan Africa with the way Rapture's been run into the ground, there's only one place I can find hoarding essential goods when the supply is tanked. A mafia.
Why mafia isn't a fucking aesthetica thread.
Icoca da pizza.
Go fuck yourself for real, I can't even with these people anymore.
Mamma mia.
After dealing with what looks to be a plague doctor back when the Black Plague was still dropping bodies, I make my way to a Skyrim-type secret dungeon, the only place with clean water, and grab all I need before pack-a-punching my Tommy gun. Now, chlorophyll is hard. There's no one place I can go to get a giant hoard of it. I have to grab it off corpses. Don't know what they're doing with chlorophyll. I assume they've spliced themselves to become half-planked or something and need chlorophyll for survival. One way to save the climate, I guess.
How dare you!
Anyways, ingredients grabbed, I make my way back to the Lazarus Vector and holy shit, a Big Daddy! Sir? I put the Vector in, and as I let it cook, I wonder, why doesn't Ryan just shoot some mustard gas at me like he did with Employed Woman earlier? But we have no time for logic as he's sending in SEAL Team 6, but sealing the lab door only buys us so much time and I need heavier firepower.
Wait a minute!
This is big brain.
It takes all my might, even with the Big Daddy on my side, as I'm forced to evade enemies, running out of blood transfusions. How do I deal with this mess?
EA Sports. It's in the game.
I press the big green button, unleashing the Vector, saving the planet as the world celebrates at my accomplishment. The Green Party enacts me as president of the world, as I use that title to eradicate hunger, thirst, poverty, and heroin addicts. You mean the drug, right? Right? After me and the Big Daddy have sloppy wet sex to celebrate, we part ways as I make my way to the Metro, as Ryan says the next thing getting raid sprayed is me. I get to the Metro as next step is Hephaestion, where Ryan lives, and Atlas gives me some lore on Sander Cohen, a mad scientist gone insane. Hope we don't have to deal with him, right? Atlas?
That's better. Atlas Ryan. Atlas Ryan. Da, da, da.
After a test run eliminating Spider-Man so thoroughly Jameson let out a load at the mere thought, Sander lets me into play. I make my way up to his room where he offers an accord. First though, some Mozart.
Presto, presto! No, no!
After not being able to expecto patronum or allegro or iridocyclitis or whatever Sander wanted him to do, he kills him, asking me to take a picture of the corpse and then posting it on the wall of shame, immortalizing his dead ops. There are 3 more former pupils I have to take down, and after getting the last weapon in the game, the crossbow, I go to work. First guy almost freezes me as I break free and we kill each other, but I have the hack of respawn allowing me to come back and snap his picture. There's also a new type of Big Daddy named Rosie, although I like to call her urologist because she gives out prostate examinations thoroughly and for free. However, with the Lightning WMD, it's literally a cheat code. Third guy's a pyromancer who does about as well as you would expect.
I've come for your pickle.
After putting it in, I mistakenly tell my captor I'd rather burn the 80 grand than go get an art degree, enraging the artist as he sends his goons after me. Eventually, we amend our relations and I go to kill the last stop.
If it is the law,
With that voice acting, I'm sure he could wet any lady's panties. I'm not surprised at his riz. But this is an interesting part. Notice the mom picture flashing right before the next Casper scene.
Sorry, Mr. Ryan, I didn't know. I didn't know Fontaine had something to do with it. What are you doing? No, don't, please. I love you, don't.
This'll be relevant later. The last guy isn't an artist, just a member of Al-Qaeda, and I drop him like SEAL Team 6. After the last photo, the man himself walks down. Bravo, yes. Giving me a present before allowing me to depart on my journey. I fucking love this guy in this mission. Man just needed a shooter to deaden his ops for him. We can all respect that, and it was pretty fun, and he even lets me go after I fulfill my end of the accord, so I let him live. Atlas gives me some 1960s slang I can't hope to understand, and I make it to Andrew Ryan's location, Hephaestion. I make my way to his wall of shame where he crucified his critics.
He just like me. He just like me for real.
And locked himself into his hidey hole, foiling my plans, but during his villain monologue, I pick up Anya's tape, which tells me to just blow up the core. I patiently wait for the splicers to break in before burning them at the stake, and after offing them, I make my way to the engine room where... After Halloween 3's plot... Okay, God, I wasn't ready for that plot twist. Alright, now after Halloween 3's plot, I get another tape telling me to go to Kyber's workshop. And after another tape of Kyber's, this time giving us the reason the crucified lady with the tape was, well, crucified, and mentioning some sort of device, is a bomb. Another fetch quest, this time a little harder as I have to grab 4 R34 clusters, aka loot or kill 4 Big Daddies, jump through wires that two-shot you to get nitroglycerin while pack-a-punching Saddam's favorite toy, and some ionic gel before Ryan says...
A man builds a city at the bottom of the sea. That's the mark. Another man happens to be on a plane that crash lands on the same city in the middle of the ocean. Why, that sounds more like a miracle.
Something is fishy.
Finally, I complete the bomb and set up a defense of the Alamo while opening the magma valve to clear a path.
These creatures kill you? Even I don't. As you drag me closer to the abyss, you pull yourself right along with me. I offer you a quick death, Parasite. It will be preferable to what you can learn to win.
I place the bomb as Ryan bombs the rest of Rapture and make my way to the final boss.
Master, hear me? Atlas! You can kill me, but you will never have my city.
As I make my way in, I get to a CSI behind the scenes exclusive where Would You Kindly, Ryan, Jasmine Jolie, white guy who escaped from Guantanamo Bay, Fontaine, Suchong, Tannenbaum. Damn! I Batista bomber ass in bed. Finally, we get to the man himself, Andrew Ryan.
In the end, what separates a man from a slave? Money? Power? No. A man chooses. A slave obeys. You think you have memories. A farm. A family. An airplane. A crash. And then this place. Was there really a family? Did that airplane crash? Or was it hijacked? Forced down. Forced down by something less than a man, something bred to sleepwalk through life until they are activated by a simple phrase spoken by their kindly master. Was a man sent to kill, or a slave? A man chooses. A slave obeys. Come in. Stop, would you kindly? Would you kindly? Powerful phrase. Familiar phrase.
Would you kindly? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly head to Ryan's office and kill the son of a bitch?
Sit, would you kindly? Stand, would you kindly? Run! Stop! Turn. A man chooses. A slave obeys. Kill! A man chooses! A slave obeys! Obey!
After placing Andrew Ryan's genetic key, the ruse is up. Atlas was Frank Fontaine all along. There was no family, no Atlas, and I was a pawn in this game the entire time with the phrase, "Would you kindly?" putting me on a leash. One of the little sisters finds me, and together we skirt our way through Fontaine's defenses into a vent, waking up in Tannenbaum's safe house. Come here, tiger. Okay, they're all little girls.
Wait.
Tannenbaum says she owes me and will help me take out Frank Fontaine. I'm doing some of the mental conditioning, but not all of it. Su Chong, the man on the police sketch, conditioned my mind and I should go search his flat first. On my way, Atlas tells me to get stepped on by a big daddy, but that phrase holds no power over me anymore. Now, if he said big mommy, I think we'd be in a little trouble because no amount of mental reconditioning would be able to make me resist. Although he can still stop my heart, it seems, lowering my maximum health, unfortunately. I get to Su Chong's home as Fontaine tries convincing me he's Atlas and this is all a prank again. Hahaha, don't come after me, please. Camera's right over there, that type of thing. But I read Su Chong's tape telling me that there's a chemical, a Lot 192, an antidote for my mental conditioning just in case that Fontaine had crafted. But Tannenbaum, being smarter than all these fucks, stole a vial of that Lot 192 that's in her flat. I waddle to her home, pickle swimming in the cool breeze after disposing of my undergarments. No, they tore her home apart.
It's not fair!
He took everything to his home, which I don't have access to, as he lowers my heart rate once again. But my urbanness is unmatched, blasting my way through to Fontaine's home as Tannenbaum calls me the savior of the Little Sisters, assuredly gaslighting me into doing her bidding, with praise, as Fontaine tells me his backstory, a con man in rapture, kid in the candy store, so to speak, as I'm about to experience with Lot 192 coursing through my veins. I lose my plasmids and get a random new one every 30 seconds, needing a larger dose to deal with the side effects. Next up, Suchong's lab. Using security bullseye and target dummy to bulldoze my way through Olympus Heights, and Incinerate 3 has my hands like magma, although still incomparable to what it does to my targets. As I get to Suchong's lab, where I find him impaled by a big daddy, get good noob, looks like he FF'd IRL. I take the drug, and with all the plot twists in this game, I half expected to have just ingested cyanide liquid form or some other elaborate 400 IQ poison move Fontaine did, but nope, it's time to deal with the big bad. Fontaine is utterly flabbergasted, zoomer-knuckled if you will, that I broke the curse as he tries telling me Mother Goose is gonna double-cross me, which I know isn't gonna happen since no way the game would tell me that just for her to do exactly what they told me, right? Right? Doesn't matter, he accepts my challenge to 1v1 on top of a submarine and I oblige. Getting to Point Prometheus as this fucker's got super strength now?
What is this you wait for? Go and get this idiot!
I wait for the crack to leave his system. Man could snap me like a twig. You go fight him. She quickly sends nudes, invigorating me with a strength Fontaine's crack couldn't possibly harness, and he knows it. Shooting the door controls, locking my way through as he makes his escape. The solution? To become a big daddy myself and have the Little Sisters open the door for me. After getting some lore on how little ones were bred to recognize pheromones, looks, and sounds of big daddies, I need 3 pheromones, a big daddy suit, and a voice box. I grab Boots, and as Fontaine tries convincing me to stop chasing after him, knowing my post-nude enlarged muscles are gonna tear him apart as I'm now a man on a mission, I keep going. Grabbing a fursuit and a helmet, finally getting to try out the new Subnautica update. I grab all 3 pheromones that canonically smell like ass cheeks. You see that, neckbeards? Your natural musk use as an excuse to not shower is false. Case closed. One last attempt by Frank, who calls me Tannenbaum's bitch who can't start until she says go. That's not true.
Here is where you be finding the voice box to have sounds like one of those.
Finally, a big daddy. I bring out a little sister who opens the door for me as this turns into a protect quest, as I have to be her bodyguard while she opens doors and desecrates corpses. The only problem is when the Kool-Aid man broke through our defenses, but with the ISIS secret weapon I clear, no diff. Finally, it's time for the final boss as I stock up on supplies as Frank tries his hand at psychological warfare. Oh, you don't want to be coming to me. I am really strong right before the little sister gives me a needle, scoffing at the heretic until Tannenbaum says I'll need it to drain Fontaine of his atom. Finally, it's time.
I remember when me and the crowd put you in that sub. You were no more than 2, but you were also the closest thing I ever had to a son.
Oh, I'll be making you call me daddy by the time I'm finished with you. The fight is pretty shit, honestly. 4 stages. I start by using the needle to suck his atom as Fireman from the Fantastic Four starts coming after me. Before the second sucky gets me the Silver Surfer as an enemy, and last one gets me Lord of the Cosmos aesthetic or something. After a long, hard-fought battle that wasn't too hard, even with the reinforcements at the end there, one last sucky as he blasts me away, kills me, and rules Rapture with an iron fist as he triumphs over everybody in his path. Except, of course, for the little girls who dogpile on him and stab him with the needle. I know what his answer is going to be to the question, fight 25-year-olds or 5 20-year-olds. See, that would never happen to me, because I'm built different. I'd be winning Messi a 2nd World Cup with their heads and shit. And we get the outro sequence where Tannenbaum praises my selflessness since I didn't harvest a single little sister as they surface, get their own lives, and I establish the family I never had. Wonder what happens if I harvest a single little sister. Okay, I invade the surface world and take control of an ICBM apparently. That makes sense. If you enjoyed my content, check out my other videos linked here and in the pinned comment, and leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.